Super.
And as people join, I see people are coming on, you'll let them know.
Yeah, what we'll do is ask everyone to introduce themselves, and then I'll also make sure I notify people a couple times that we're recording, just so that's so that people are aware. And so let's see, does the chat also come up in your screen, Lisa?
Yes,
just because that's also, so I'll ask people throughout the call, any Q&A that we can just go ahead and post during the call on in the chat box.
Okay.
Super. Okay, I'm assuming since Tracy is calling from her phone, she might not have access to her computer, but that is fine. But anyone else who's already on the line, feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself over in the chat, and that way we have people who might join a little bit late can review the chat to see who's been on the call. Hi, Pernil. Great to see our partners from Cycling Without Age on the line. Wonderful. All right, I got folks calling in. And so I think I will go ahead and get started, and that way as we start rolling on, as people dial in, we'll be getting into the program. And so for those who are listening to the recording or live in person, just good morning and welcome to the launch of the ChangeX Grant County Community Challenge, which is made possible by our partnership with Microsoft. So my name is Erin Boyd, and I lead partnerships for ChangeX. And so it's really an honor to be here with you all today, because I can speak for everyone on the ChangeX and Microsoft team that it's our partners who are at the heart of what we do. And so being on this call today is really what it's all about. It's getting to work together to make community engagement happen, but that can only happen in partnership. So first, before we get into the introductions, I'd like to make a few housekeeping items. So this is wonderful that as everyone's dialing in, please introduce yourself in the chat. Second note, we will be recording this call, so all voice and audio and video will be recorded. Throughout the call today, if you have questions so that we don't lose them, go ahead and post them in the chat, and we'll be referencing them at the end of the call. And as we've already noted, if you have an option to do so, please do turn on your video. We'd all love to see everyone's faces as we come together as a community. But if you are in maybe a louder location, please do mute your mic so that everyone can hear while the speakers are speaking. So I'll just start with our goals for the day, and I have a great job of just keeping us on schedule to make sure that we hit all of these goals. So there's 3 parts: an overview, where we want to make sure that everyone learns about the Grant County Community Challenge and opportunities to get involved. Secondly, and more concretely, by the end of the call, we want to make sure that each person knows the role that they can play, either in starting an idea or spreading the word about the challenge. And third, we want everyone on this call to really feel like they're part of the team. We're all going to be available to everyone on this call throughout the challenge, and we want to make sure that you know that we're here and feeling supported, and you know what the faces look like on the other end of the email whenever you're sending those emails across with any questions. And so finally, I have the honor of introducing the Microsoft and ChangeX teams who will be speaking on the call today. So other than myself, we have 4 speakers, in addition to 3 featured social innovators. So first, we're going to have Lisa Carstetter, who is with a Tech Spark manager in Washington for Microsoft. Then we have Paul O'Hara, who is co-founder and CEO of ChangeX, calling from Dublin, Ireland. We have Holly Beal, who's a program manager with Microsoft Data Center Community Team. She's typically in Washington State, but today we're lucky enough to have her in Dublin, Ireland with the ChangeX team. And then we have my colleague Niamh McKenna, who will lead a session to introduce social innovators, including Ole Kaza and Pernil Busson from Cycling Without Age, Tracy Cove from Grow Remote, and Eileen Elliott from Recycling Across America. So you'll notice that we're calling in from all over the world, which is one of the things that makes, I think, this partnership so special. It's really a global effort for local impact in Grant County. And we're all really inspired by the opportunity to get to work with you in Grant County. So one last little note, I did a little research about Grant County, which I haven't had the honor to visit yet. And I noticed that there's a sign along the Interstate Highway I-90 that enters Grant County that welcomes travelers with a sign saying it's the nation's leading potato producing county. And so I thought, since part of our team is in Ireland, Ireland's also known for its potatoes. So in America, we may say potatoes. And then our Irish colleagues may say potato, but we're all on the same team. And we're really excited to be on the call today. So with that intro, I'm going to pass it over to Lisa Carstetter from Microsoft TechSpark to welcome us all.
Good morning to all those that are on the phone. It actually looks like Ireland out right now. It's drizzly and rainy, so we have something in common there. Normally it's very sunny. Our area, another thing is we only get about 7 inches of rain here, so not a lot. We're mostly a dry desert. So anyway, for everybody on there, this is a project that I think is going to be really great. We, you know, I'm the community lead for the data center team, along with Rick, who is also on here. He helps on that. And then also I wear the TechSpark hat, and TechSpark is a CELA, our philanthropy team from the philanthropy organization. And it's really looking at economic drivers and how we can really look at our rural areas and remove roadblocks and help foster growth. So I think that this is a good one that kind of fits in both areas for us. And we've gone ahead and put $30,000 towards this to really look for grassroots efforts. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time because I really want them to get to the nuts and bolts, but I'm excited for everybody that's on here and those that are going to be listening later on the recorded webinar. Please feel free to reach out once you get that. So I'm going to pass it back. Keep that short and simple.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That was a great intro to hear where you're coming from there in Grant County. And now I'm going to pass it over to the CEO of ChangeX, Paul O'Hara, to tell us a little bit more about ChangeX.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Good morning in Grant County. We're late evening here in Dublin, but very excited to be getting this launched. So my job is just to tell you a little bit about the background of ChangeX and also a little bit of an introduction to the challenge. So ChangeX started in a very rural community in the west of Ireland called the Burren. So we know well how to activate ideas in rural communities, given that was our birthplace. And I've been to Washington State. I was just there last week with Holly, who's now sitting in Dublin with me. But I have not been to Grant County before. But looking forward, I find with these challenges, I learned lots of new things about different places. So looking forward to learning more about Grant County. But the background to ChangeX was we were investing in social entrepreneurs and great innovators all over the world through an organization called Ashoka. And we realized that these great ideas were not accessible to communities across the world. So the idea for ChangeX was, could we package up great ideas from all across the world and make them easily accessible to communities everywhere? So we've been working on this for about 4 years, and key to making it all happen has been partnering with companies such as Microsoft to enable it to happen in local communities. Now we've been working with Microsoft and members across the US, but how it works is it's a platform that connects with social innovations and funding. We curate and package replicable innovations, so things that communities can just take and run with, and then funding partners provide some financial fuel to make it all happen in local communities. And then the local teams that take the ideas and get them up and running, they're the ones that do all the work, and we're I suppose both ChangeX and Microsoft are here to support those teams in the local community to get it done and generate the impact. And then we try and make it as easy as possible for all parties to track the impact of that work as we go. So that's a little bit about how it works. Now, if we jump on a slide, I will tell you about the challenge. So we're launching today. The goal, the overall ambition of ChangeX and this mission and this challenge is to build thriving communities. So this challenge is focused on Grant County, launching today. It's a fund of $30,000, and the grants range from $500 to $5,000, depending on the idea that the project team wants to adopt. So it's open to anybody across the county. And there's 15 different projects that have been proven to work elsewhere in the United States or other parts of the world. And we'll be getting introduced to some of those ideas today. And the theme of this challenge is around social cohesion and sustainability. So that's kind of broadly the different buckets that the portfolio come together in. So Niamh, I know, is going to talk through the portfolio in a little bit, but we're very excited to be working with all of you there in Grant County to try and bring this mission to life, and let us know if there's any way we can support you. Back to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul. That's really helpful to understand big picture how ChangeX fits in. And now we'll get to hear from our wonderful partner, Holly Beal, from the data center community team at Microsoft. Holly, maybe you can tell us why is Microsoft doing this, and why are you excited about the Grant County Community Challenge?
Sure. Yeah, I'll say I have been to Grant County several times to meet with Lisa and meet over at the data center, but also because I love rock climbing in Vantage over there. Even when there's not great weather anywhere else, there's usually good weather there in Vantage, though. It's super fun to climb out there, so I like it out there. And so, yeah, why are we doing this? Well, from the top down in our company, from senior leadership, this is a quote from Satya Nadella, our CEO, talking about how important it is to engage with our communities to further our mission of empowering every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. So from the very top levels of this company, we know that this is important, and that kind of trickles down into our team. So if you go to the next page, our data center community development team is a fairly small team, but we are engaging in the communities around our data centers around the world. We have over 100 data centers across the globe, but we have 18 that we're really focusing on this year with 4 different initiatives around community broadband, so affordable internet access around our data centers, workforce development, so ensuring that we can hire locally and hire diverse and inclusive workforce, and also just over provisioning on 21st century skills for employability for our data center community people who live in the community. We have an empowerment fund, so that's a grant making program, and then we have an environmental sustainability program as well. And we focus on these 4 different focus areas, which we've tried to be sure that this challenge encapsulates around engaging employees, focusing on livability in our communities, equity, and diversity and inclusion. And then one more slide is the last slide, showing that we've done a lot across the world with our team. But as we try to scale to more communities and have a more impact locally, we need to think creatively about how we can empower those in the community to be able to do more locally. And so that's why we're so excited about these challenges that we're launching across the world and today in Grant County, because it really is a chance to empower those in the community to take on projects, and really allows us to scale and to have projects that resonate with the local community. We want to empower those in the community to do projects most relevant to you. And so That can be around sustainability, but also around cohesion, as we will speak to next on what types of projects are available in the challenge. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, and back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Holly. And that was a great reminder that as people join in the call, please don't be shy. Go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat. And if you have any questions about the Microsoft or ChangeX overviews, let us know. But you're probably just wondering, how does this actually work? And so that will be the next segment of the conversation. So I'd like to introduce my colleague, Neve, from ChangeX, who is helping to launch the Grant County Community Challenge in partnership with Lisa. So Neve, it'd be great to hear from you about what's involved, who can apply, and what's this all about, and how does it work?
Thanks, Erin. Yeah, so my name is Neve. I'm here in ChangeX HQ in Dublin, just upstairs from Paul and Holly. And this is the Grant County Community Challenge landing page. So this is what you'll see when you go onto the page that we'll be sharing after this. And it really just kind of walks you through a little bit more about how it works. And I'm also going to go through the ideas in a little bit more detail in a minute. Just one thing to flag, and something I discussed with Lisa, I know it's a question some people have around the types of ideas and how we might incorporate local ideas. So for now, we're focusing on the replication of existing ideas. So these are ideas that are working in different parts of the world. And we do hope to be able to add in some local ideas at some point. But for this kind of first phase of the challenge, we're going to be focused on that replication of ideas that already exist in other parts of the US and other parts of Europe. So we'll get into them in a minute. But just for now, how it works. So you can select one of the 12 ideas. And once you do that, you get your own project page on ChangeX. And that project page walks you through this 30-day challenge. So the 30-day challenge is really designed to just help people be successful at this project. So kind of to set you up with the best possible start to kind of build momentum and get the project up and running. So to complete the 30-day challenge, you just need to build a team. So find 4 other committed people who will help you do this. Have a call with us here, the ChangeX team, and then have your first meeting. So get those people together, plan how you're going to activate the project, and then submit a kind of a brief action plan to show us how you're going to do it. So at that point, you can unlock the funding that's allocated to your project. And the funding amounts vary depending on the idea between $500 and $5,000. So I know also that it's kind of holiday season coming up. You've got Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's winter time. And so the 30 days is really just about kind of planning and getting your team in place to activate the project rather than actually getting the project up and running. So some of the projects may not start until next spring, but that's okay. You can still access your funding and get everything kind of up and running in preparation for the activation. So then in terms of who can apply, the whole idea behind ChangeX is that it's really as open and as accessible to everyone as possible. So anyone who just wants to start one of these ideas, who's really passionate about improving their local community. And so whether you're an individual or a local group, a community organization or a school, anyone can apply to access the funding. As an individual, you just need to form a team, so that's part of the challenge. And then in terms of the kind of support available, so I have a little bit more detail on that. So yeah, so each of the ideas has an allocated amount of funding, and you get 70% of that funding on completion of the 30-day challenge, and the remaining 30% once the project is actually up and running and you're beginning to kind of track your impact and actually make a positive difference in the community. Then you also get one of these starter packs in the mail, which we'll send out to you, which just has kind of a guide that walks you through how to start a community project, some more details on the specific project that you want to start, and also a little gift in there as well, which can be a surprise. And then you also get just some support and mentorship related to your specific idea. You get your page on ChangeX, which allows you to set up events to spread the word. And through that, you'll be kind of completing your challenge and submitting your impact data. And then ongoing support from the team here at ChangeX. So myself and Katie here beside me in particular will be always on to kind of take your calls and answer your emails about getting any of these ideas started. So then on to the more exciting piece of what the ideas are. So these are the 12 projects, and they're, I think, like Paul said, they're kind of a combination of sustainability projects and community cohesion projects. And these are from different parts of the US and different parts of Europe. So we have some of the people behind these projects on the line. So I'm just going to get them to quickly introduce their idea, and then I'll give a brief overview of the others. But when you go to the landing page, you can click on each of these tiles and find out a lot more detail about this idea, how it works, and how you can get it started in your local community. So I might go to the Cycling Without Age team first. I know Pernilla is there. I'm not sure, is Ole there too?
Hi, good evening. Well, good evening in Denmark. No, Ole, he wasn't able to join right now, so it's just me, Pernille, calling in from Copenhagen.
Hi,
Thank you very much for the invitation. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. So Cycling Without Age is one of the fastest growing non-profits in the world. We're represented in 42 countries now. And what we do is that we are the affiliates, volunteers in our organization, organize rickshaw rides in a 3-wheeled bike to elderly people with limited mobility. So it's a movement that really inspires a lot of people that are either in care homes or who have elderly people in their community, or people that want to promote cycling. It's a really interesting mix of people that take up this challenge actually every day in all parts of the world, and I'm really happy for this opportunity with the ChangeX, because it gives us an opportunity to support that local group, and which is what we're here for. So I could talk a lot, of course, about the benefits of going outside. For a person with limited mobility, they might have trouble even making new friends. If you're an elderly person, a lot of your friends and contacts have maybe passed away or moved away, and we offer people to create new relationships and to share stories through this activity, which is also a lot of fun. And I think that it's a very positive movement, because I definitely believe that we bring hope and good news. Kind of, it's a happy movement. We are also very much involved with the Sustainable Developmental Goals. So we are promoting mental health and well-being. That's number 3. We are also involved with number 10, which is reducing inequality, social inclusion of all, irrespective of age. And in number 11 of the goals, it's about the urban design. We are also, in that sense, creating inclusive cities, accessible and sustainable transport systems for all. We do have some people in Washington State already that are doing Cycling Without Age, but not exactly in this specific area. So we're looking very much forward to it, and to getting to know all of the other nonprofits that are part of this program.
Brilliant. Thanks, Pernilla.
Thanks.
And Tracy from Grow Remote, are you still with us?
Hey, yes, I am. Thank you. Very excited to be here. So Grow Remote is a project that aims to enable us to work, live and participate in our local communities. So we started off in rural communities across Ireland, and at the time we were hearing that remote work, was going to be a big driver for enabling our communities to sustain themselves and to grow, but we weren't seeing it locally. So we set about our work, which is to make remote work more visible and accessible to the communities who need it. So in less than a year, we grew into 10 countries and 109 local communities. And what we do as a core team is kind of join dots and facilitate those community connections. And fundamentally, the problem is that when employment goes locationless, it's brilliant because it gives us equal access to employment opportunity. But it's not so good because there's no local driver. So GitLab, Hotjar, all those companies don't advertise in our rural communities. So through ChangeX, we equip local leaders with the ability to either bring it to people. So in an area like Armagh Island in Ireland, population of 400 people, they don't have remote workers there already. So they teach them what is remote work, how do you get it? And then in areas like Castlebar, where the population is a little bit bigger, they bring the remote workers who are already there together so that it becomes more visible, and there's a kind of community engagement of this type of work. So just one piece is, when we say remote work, we mean employment. So salaried, pensionable roles, just like you know that you can get in a city, just while we can live and participate in our local communities. So that is it. Very excited for anybody who wants to come on in. And I think, just to take off my Grow Remote hat and to put on my community hat, I think it's really exciting just to hear Niamh speak about the local projects and the possibility to use ChangeX to scale them. Because I know for Grow Remote, we grew pretty quickly in a year, but ChangeX was instrumental to enable us to do that well. So I think you're at the start of a very exciting journey for your own projects that are already working.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Tracy. Yeah, so I'm just going to very quickly zip through the rest of the project. So just give a brief overview of what they are. So the first one there on the slide is Community Fridge, and that's an idea that's headquartered out of London, but has worked kind of right across Europe now. And it's a very simple concept. It's just a fridge in a public space. So it might be a school or a community centre where food that would otherwise go to waste is left so that people who need it can access it. Then Grow It Yourself is an idea that originates here in Ireland, and it's people coming together either in a community group or in a school to share and engage in growing their own food and learn about growing their own food. Then Recycle Across America is an idea that originates in Minnesota and is working now right across the US, and it's all about standardizing recycling labels so that people can recycle right. And the program that we have on ChangeX is specifically for schools. So teachers or principals can apply to get this program up and running, and they get access to free standardized labels as well as a curriculum to roll it out in the school. Then Open Orchard, I know that there are many orchards in Grant County, but Open Orchard is maybe a slightly different approach to that, and it's community-based, so people coming together to plant fruit trees for the benefit of the local community so that people can access free fruit, but also to green up urban areas. Then the Last Plastic Straw is an idea that originates in California, and it is a grassroots campaign that communities can get behind to reduce and eliminate plastic straws from working in partnership with local businesses. Kaboom is another US innovation that has spread right across the States, and the program that we have in ChangeX is called Play Everywhere, and it's really about empowering communities to take spaces in the community and turn them into an opportunity for play. So kind of thinking of play outside of a traditional playground structure, but to design spaces that encourage more play. So by working maybe with local artists in local parks, on disused railway lines, even in laundromats, there's lots of design guides and opportunities there. Then the next two are both pollinator. They're both run by a nonprofit called Pollinator Partnership, again in the US. So the first one is a community-based project, so starting a pollinator garden or a project to support pollinator habitat in the local community. And the second one is more focused on agriculture, so encouraging and supporting pollinators on farms and in agricultural setting. Then, the last two, Repair Cafe, is an idea that originates in the Netherlands, and it's just, again, a simple concept. It's people coming together to repair things instead of throwing them away. And the last idea is one that I know Lisa is pretty excited about, and it's growing pretty quickly right across the US, and it's men's sheds. So it actually originates in Australia and has spread now to, I don't even know how many countries, at least 10, I think. And it's just a space in the community where men can come together to do all sorts of projects, to meet friends. Men can sometimes be at a slightly higher risk of isolation or loneliness, and Men's Sheds is really on a mission to solve that. So that's all the ideas. You can find lots more information on each of the pages about the background to the idea and how you get it started. So I might hand back to Erin now.
Great. Thank you so much, Niamh. I mean, what a tremendous collection of ideas. And it was just always so great to hear from the social innovators. So we had Tracy and Pernille calling in from Cycling Without Age and Grow Remote. It's just each of these ideas was originated somewhere by inspirational leaders like Tracy and Pernille, who saw an opportunity to make our communities better and stepped up to make it happen. And so it's just so wonderful that they've opened up their solutions. The 5-step guide on how to make it happen is what you'll receive once you apply to start one of these ideas in your own community, but it can be adapted to fit with the community needs in Grant County, but really inspired by these ideas that have worked all over the world to make communities better. So it's a really exciting challenge. And so to close out here, we have about 10 minutes for Q&A, as well as sharing a little bit more action steps about what happens next and how to get involved. And so we've been collecting Q&A over here on the chat, but since we have a little bit more time, if anyone would like to chime in and ask your questions also by voice, that's something that you're also welcome to chime in and ask your questions now, or you can type them up in the chat. So if you're calling by phone, feel free to chime in and ask your questions. But since I don't see any yet in the chat, I might start with my own question. I might throw it over to either Holly or Lisa on the Microsoft team. And just in reflection, now that we've gone through all the details of how the challenge works, would love to hear Microsoft's perspective on, what you hope to see in Grant County as the vision for this challenge, and even going beyond the 30 days.
Do you want,
Lisa, do you
Holly, do you want to go? Well, I just think, I mean, I've lived here in this area pretty much my whole life, and most of the people that I see that are on this phone call are the same. I guess I could turn my camera back on. It was slowing everything down for me. Anyway, I just look at this and I think so many times we're just used to doing the same thing over and over, and our volunteers, we're in a really small area and it seems like it's the same volunteers for the same things all the time. I love the idea that some of these are really new, kind of innovative. I mean, the first one that just really caught my attention is the cycling. I was on a board I was on the executive board for an assisted living, and you would go in there and they just sometimes once winter came or it was too hot. I mean, they just don't get out and about. And I can think of so many opportunities here in Grant County and in our own area here in Quincy. And of course, I've talked about my experience with the men's shed when I was with Yahoo. I funded 4 men's sheds, and it was amazing, some of the work. And I actually went a step farther, and we would help by giving supplies and tied them to local hospitals to make little wood toys for the kids there to paint while they were being hospitalized. So kids would bring bikes and drop them off, and these guys would like be in there tinkering and just bonding together because men don't talk. So I love some of these ideas. I think they're really new to Grant County, and so I think we need to be thinking, be really open-minded about something different. But I really hope that some of the people, and feel free, I mean, I invited lots of people to the meetings, and I know it's really hard on a Monday morning, but this is not about the people on this phone call. You are welcome to share the webinar with anyone that we're recording right now. I will shoot that out, share it with friends, family, and see if they have, if any of these kind of resonate with them. So that's my piece. Hopefully that.
Yeah, and then I can just add real quick from the community development team. I live in Redmond, so I mean, I live in Seattle, so yeah, it's the same state, but I can't pretend to know what's going to resonate with every community across the world. And what I love about this portfolio and what I'm hoping to see is having all of these different options. Just hopefully we've captured some different types of initiatives that will resonate and that will really make an impact in your community. And if none of these are impactful, then we can also look at expanding the portfolio to more. And I'll work with Lisa to be sure that we have some on there that really resonates. Excited to see what comes out of this. We've just seen in different locations, we've had some different options available, and in some places, some ideas really take off and others really don't. So I like that it's really up to you and the community of what you want to run with, and we're just happy to support.
Maybe something I'd quickly add, Erin, as well, just from my perspective, like hearing you, Lisa, talking about it being the usual suspects, you know, and that's often the case in particularly in rural communities, but anywhere really. The dependency for this type of activity falls on the same people. So something very proud of, and something that we work hard to do, is to engage new people around the ideas. So something that we'll be working hard on our side in the kind of marketing outreach is to try and inspire new energetic people that will get these ideas and get them going. And it was lovely to hear those experiences from Cycling Without Age. You know, I mean, that's the kind of idea that can and should be everywhere, as is men's sheds. I had no idea, Lisa, had some involvement with men's sheds before, but it's had a tremendous impact on communities right across Ireland. There's literally hundreds of them, and needs to be more, you know. So there, you know, hopefully we have there, at least some of them will have strong resonance with Grant County. And I like Holly's point that we'll keep working on it until we have ideas that are relevant. And we're also very hopeful that we'll find some great ideas in Grant County that we can help to spread elsewhere. So that's another kind of exciting piece of this, launching in new places to try and identify great new ideas locally as well.
I had somebody text me a couple questions, so I just want to throw those out there.
Oh, great. Thanks, Lisa.
So the question is, you know, will we facilitate a local meeting if somebody has an idea? And that's a no. I think that this is really about individuals, groups. So if something resonates with you and you go home and you tell your family or a group of your friends, and it sounds like something you'd really like to get behind, you will reach out. Is that correct? Do you want to go through those steps, Paul or Erin?
Yeah, so if, like you said, Lisa, there's a group of people who want to start one of these projects, they can just go on to ChangeX, onto the fund page, select the project, and then they'll be kind of guided through the 30-day challenge. And there'll be the ChangeX team will be here to support them through that process. So yeah, one of the steps is definitely for them to come together and plan it in a short meeting and then to update us. One thing that, just in terms of kind of people coming together, we may do an event at the end of this, a kind of a celebration event where people can come together and we hear feedback, talk about the impact that they've had, and celebrate all the positive things that have happened. But like you said, there won't be kind of any other initial kind of get-togethers other than each of the projects doing that themselves. Okay,
I had another question. I know some of them can't maybe access Teams, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw these out. Someone else asked, can we do it individually as a couple of us that maybe have a passion for getting something like this, or does it need to be done by a nonprofit already existing?
No, you can do it as an individual. So once you have a small team together, but you don't need to have a nonprofit. So as an individual, you can access the funding and everything.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, I think that's something that's super special about ChangeX, is that it's opening it up to motivated individuals or nonprofits I've seen some nonprofits in some cases that were like, oh, we could use this to advance an initiative we already have under our nonprofit umbrella. But in many cases, it's just motivated individuals, neighbors getting together to build a project together, which is very exciting. And so unless there's any other questions from anyone else on the call, feel free to once again chime in by voice or by chat. We might go ahead and transition to Paul's great question here, which is how to get the word out. So I see the slide up here. Neve, can you tell us a little bit more about, there might be people on the call who think that they might be a good fit for launching these ideas, but they might know of someone, a neighbor, a niece, a nephew, someone who might be excited about this. How can we tell them about this idea?
Yeah, so we're going to be Lisa is going to be sending out a kind of a communications pack to everyone that was invited on the call. So that'll include the recording of this webinar, a link directly to the challenge landing page, and also to each of the ideas, along with some suggested social media pieces and a piece for newsletter, so that you can easily share this with anyone that you think might be interested. So we'll be sending that out right after the call. And yeah, we would love if you could spread the word, because if any of these ideas, like you might just think, oh, I think I know someone who would like that. And just send on the link and let's get this in front of as many people as possible. And we'll also be we'll hopefully be getting some local media to get the word out. And we'll also be doing some kind of different pieces on social media so that we can get this in front of as many people as possible.
And Neve, I have one question for you. One other thing I love about the ChangeX challenges is that they're very immediate. Can you tell us about, so basically the challenge is open today. If I were to go onto the website and apply today to start a men's shed or a Cycling Without Age project or Grow Remote, when would I find out? When could I get started?
Yeah, so you can get started straight away. And so the 30 days, it's really kind of up to you to complete the steps within those 30 days. And then, so even if you don't activate your project for a couple of months, that's okay. But once you complete the 30-day challenge, so getting your team together, having your meetings, submitting your plan, because we know it's a busy time with holidays and coming into winter. And there's also, the funds are kind of allocated to teams on a first come, first served basis. And so once all the funding is allocated, then the challenge will close. So from our previous experience, we would expect it to be open for a couple of months, but we would definitely encourage people to kind of get started straight away. If you know people who might be interested, to encourage them to get started straight away as well.
Super. Well, it's
mostly around, just one more question. So the projects, we're sticking with the projects that are on there currently, or was there a few others that we didn't add to that list?
Yeah, so we're going to stick with the projects that we have on there for now, and then if we feel like there's a need to add in additional projects to kind of that may resonate more with the local community, then we're totally open to doing that. And also, if there are local projects that we think there is potential for them to scale kind of through the ChangeX platform, then we can also explore that a little bit further as well. But for now, when you go on there, it'll be those 12 projects.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa, for bringing those questions to us. And so we're coming to the end of our meeting here. So I'd love to leave it to either Lisa and or Holly to close us out and to wish everyone well. And we'll be wrapping up the challenge, this part of the challenge.
Well, this is Lisa again. So thank you guys to everyone that called in this morning. I know it's a Monday and we have lots on our plates. So please feel free to share out. I will be sending out this recorded webinar. Please feel free to share it. This is not inclusive to just those on the group. I just know that a lot of the people on this group are connectors in our county, and I'm relying on you to get this out to those that you know that can move things for the benefit of others. So that would be my ask. And I want to thank everybody. I know we're calling in from everywhere around the world. So thank you guys. And it's beautiful. Somebody's trying to call me. Anyway, it's a beautiful thing, I think, when you can bring these people together for change. So
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much. Oh, let's see. Holly, did you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to everyone and good luck. And let us know if you run into any issues, but really looking forward to seeing other projects that you kickstart in the community.
All right. Looking forward to getting started. Get the word out. Challenge is live today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Good luck.
Good luck.